Alright, here's an 8-inch chuck. Got the machine turning, pretty good clip here, and playing with the feeds and speeds on it. Looks like it's doing pretty good now that I've got everything, got my cobwebs out of my brain and got it going. So I've got to get a bigger guard because that guard's not big enough for this chuck, but I've got a smaller chuck, a 6-inch, that'll fit on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the VFD so you can see how fast it stops the chuck. That's pretty good for the weight that chuck brings to the machine. We're going to see how quiet it is without the gearbox. It's pretty quiet. It's about, that's on the second pulley. It's 628 RPMs. So now what we can do, because we're running that speed, we're not on the max speed, we can actually jack up the speed. And now we can adjust. So now by doing that, now we have a variable speed south bend lathe. That sounds pretty good. I've got to obviously need to clean the gears and work through that and see where all the noise is coming from in there. It's not too bad. I just want to, it's probably just gunk in there. It needs to be cleaned out. But I'm going to drop it down to about half speed now. That's running about 70 hertz right there. I need to go calculate what that is in RPMs, but that sounds really good. And the machine's running really, really quiet. Alright, so that should be about 314 RPMs right there. So you're starting to get where you can actually see the chuck going. I'm going to drop it down to quarter speed and then bring it back up to 60. So we'll be basically at 157 this next time. And that's back to 628 RPMs, 60 hertz. Definitely don't like reaching across that thing. I got to get my remotes hooked up, so that'll be definitely a way to go. But again, we're running at 628 RPMs. I'm going to do a stop command on it, and we'll see it stopping the chuck in about a second, so that's really good. I know even by default these things don't stop like that, so the VFD actually can add a little bit of safety to these things as well. Looks like I've got it set up pretty good there, so that's working really well. I'm happy with that. I've got to do some more testing on it, but I want to do some test cuts on it and see how well it's doing. All right, I wanted to give a quick shot here of the inside of the cabinet. As you can see, the motor here mounted back inside the cabinet. And what I've done is I've just taken a standard junction box and mounted it in. I'll come back here where you can see on the outside there on the back, you can see the input and the actual seal tight that goes over to the panel. I've got that closed up, and then that goes up and to the bottom of the control box, as you can see there. So that's all glued up now and fastened in, all mounted. Comes down, goes through that seal tight, and then I'm going to put one clamp on that against the wall to hold that over there like I want it. Comes into the control box, or comes into the base of the lathe, and then I've got it split out. And as you can see here on the bottom, I've got the braking resistor mounted inside on the bottom. So once that's all closed up, that should protect that really well, and should work fine. Actually, I've already tested all this, everything works good. I just wanted to shoot some shots of this before I actually put the cover on so you can see what I've done there. So I've got everything wired in there, and I'm going to put the wiring in there and button it up, and that'll be it for the drive side. And then what I'll do is come back and start wiring up the remote controls.